People,
nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer
what's
we've
up,
ever
everybody?
had, of course, Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Oh, man, I got to get this. It's been a while since I've been broadcasting here. Gotta get this camera set up right here. Let me turn my mic down. God, I'm all out of sorts here. This is what happens when you take some time off from doing your podcast and everything. All right, guys, greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. I know that it has... Man, this camera looks weird. Damn it. What the hell's going on here? Anyways, I'm going to get into why I have not been doing the show. I know you guys are probably going to be like, oh, Tuddle, you're a pussy. You're just making excuses and stuff. But I would like to hear from you. I would. Like, if you're mad at me for missing the time that I have, I would love to hear from you. I deserve it. I absolutely deserve it. You can give me a call here. The Google Voice is open, 407-270-3044. Once again, that's 407-270-3044. You can also text that number if you want to, but I'm also reading a lot of the people's chat comments. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I don't care if you guys have something negative to say. I have never, ever been one of those people that is going to, sway away from the negative comments. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about you first more than anybody else. Even the marks, the people that like me or just want to feed my ego per se. I mean, that's boring. That's boring, just me reading comments. Iggy T, I want to personally apologize to you for being MIA when it comes to doing the show. I do appreciate you messaging me and checking on me and stuff. And it's not like I was going through anything bad. You guys got to realize, like, I'm just mentally... I'm not like the normal person. I let little things set me off. And it did. And I'll tell you why, okay? I've been going to therapy. For the past couple of months. I'm getting into that. So Miss LMT81, hello, Tuddle. How are you? Bubba's dreams of being 2A. That... I gotta give you credit. That's a great screen name. Tuddle, where you been? I've been doing some self-reflection and all that good stuff. And it's just not my mental state. It's just that I have responsibilities, guys. Like, radio is my passion. I made money out of it for quite some time. It was good money, but now that I've gotten out into the civilian job market, doing a regular job, a normie job. Yeah, I'm a normie now. I am a normie working a normie job. And I'm making good money. It's the most money that I've ever made in my life right now on a regular basis. I got health insurance. I got medical, dental, vision. I get 2 free pairs of glasses every year now on my medical plan. Yes, I got benefits. I got benefits on benefits on benefits. And I'm working the job. One of the things that was stressing my mom out after my dad died, but about income. she still does pretty well on her Social Security because you still get some of the stuff from your deceased spouse. And even though my dad's still not around, good for him. My dad set us up really, really well. But this extra money that I got coming in now, I'm able to help relieve some of that stress off of my mom. But it's also a double-edged sword, people. It is. Because, I know that that's what my dad would want me to do. My dad would want me to take the responsibilities that he had and me take responsibility for them. And I'm glad that I'm doing it. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. But I had a therapy session today. And I talked about this. So this past weekend, I got to hang out with Colton. I got to hang out with Colton. It was not the usual weekend where I hang out with Colton because I usually come over on Friday afternoon, hang out, spend Saturday night, or I'll spend Friday night, Saturday night, come home on Sunday. I went over on Saturday, got to hang out with Colton. And you would be like, oh, yeah, you guys must have had a blast. Oh, I did. Had an absolute blast. But we really didn't do anything. You want to know what we did? We sat in the garage and watched sports all day. Watched sports all day. And smoked weed, hung out, watched sports. You know what? A lot of people would think that that's boring. No, you know what? It was absolute heaven for me. I didn't have any worries in the world. Even though I was sweating my ass off the whole time. Yeah. And I'll get to that here in a few minutes, but we just sat around and watched sports. Started off the day watching the Florida Gators play Texas A&M. Glad the Gators won. Then after that, I think we watched the Tennessee-Georgia game. That was kind of a blowout. And Colton does it. Colton does it right. We got 3 TVs going on in his garage in Pasco County. So we're watching on one TV during the Gators game, watching Northwestern give it to Ohio State, even though Ohio State won. And then we're watching the Gators game. And then when it came on, when the Lightning game came on, we were watching. At one time we were watching Game 6 of the World Series, Houston Astros, Philadelphia Phillies. Then we were watching the Lightning versus the Buffalo Sabres. And then we were watching the Miami Hurricanes Florida State game. And then we would go inside to see Alabama versus LSU. Hell of a game. LSU versus Alabama. Oh, my God. But we didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just hung out in a hot-ass garage, hanging out with the boys, and that was it. It was a blast. And I got to hang out with Colton's parents. I do consider them like family. Think about this. Colton's family let me stay with them for 2 years, rent-free. That's why I stayed out in the garage all the time, because I didn't want to be in their way. So I stayed outside, but that was also when I was an alcoholic. And you want to know why I want to stay outside? Oh, Bubba dreams of being 2X, cheer 200 bits. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. If you guys want to help out the cause, you can cheer bits on Twitch, or you can super chat on YouTube. Because I'm such a baller now with the 2 big professional jobs that I'm working right now. But it does help. Trust me, the money that comes in through the podcasts and stuff, it's just extra money. And I don't do the podcast for money. I do it because it feeds my passion of broadcasting. And, and full circle, talking about going to the therapist today, that is something that I talked about. Because I recently started seeing a new therapist. And I had been seeing the previous therapist for about a month. But she was not challenging me. There's a lot of stuff that has happened, childhood trauma wise, stuff that happened to me in the past that I would talk to my previous therapist about. And this is the reaction. I would tell her the most fucked up things in the world. And you know what? The therapist, oh, I'm sorry I'm sorry that happened. I feel so bad that. No. That is the last thing that I want from a therapist. I want a therapist that's going to challenge me a little bit. Instead of sympathizing with all the stuff that I'm going through and everything, I need you to challenge you. Give me some solutions. I don't need you to be sympathetic to all the fucked up stuff that has happened to me in my life. So I changed therapist, and I'm liking the new one, but also at the same time, I don't want to go on these big rants and everything when I go to this new therapist, because the last thing that I want, because you guys all know that I ended up being in the hospital for 11 days. I was Baker acted. I was doing, it was one of the worst 11 days of my life. But I also don't want to go I don't want to come in hot with a new therapist, telling her about all my opinions, my views, my thoughts and stuff, because the last thing that I want is to go full tilt. And then when I'm walking out of the therapist's office here in Volusia County, the last thing I don't want is a bunch of guys with a straitjacket and those butterfly nets. Hell, man, now I'm going to be nervous. SBK Media is watching. There's no such thing as extra money. No, you're right. You want me to be honest? You want to know who the best therapist would be for me, and we're talking about extra money. If you would like to, SBK, if you would like to make some extra money, I feel better after talking to SBK, Soul Brother Kevin. You know him from Real Radio, 1025 The Bone. Now he's a badass trucker and everything. I feel better talking to SBK after it. What up, Scott? Cousin Scott. You know who another person I feel good after talking to? Cousin Scott. Congrats on the W, Coach. Fins up. That's another thing that happens. I go through there are two things that happen to me in a fast food order line when I go through the drive-thru. If I go to Burger King, most of the staff usually calls me ma'am or Mrs. because of my voice. And it's always so comfortable or uncomfortable when I go to pay for the food and they realize that I'm not a chick. That happens every single time. And then when I go to Chick-fil-A, everybody calls me Mike McDaniel from the Miami Dolphins coach. I talked to SBK the other day, and I just always feel better. SBK gets me. I can be real with SBK. I need, I know he is traveling all over the country right now. You need to check out his podcast. Follow, go to his Twitter or Facebook. Just search The Soul Brother. I know on Twitter it's at The Soul Brother. But I know he's firing back up the podcast. He's doing a lot of posting on his travels and stuff. Yeah, Fish on Jay. I got to get Fish on Jay. Fish on Jay, man. Fish on Jay says, from one trucker to another, congratulations to Soul Brother Kevin. I'm so happy for Kevin. He's killing it right now. He sounds so happy. And I always enjoy talking to him. But back to the therapy thing. I was talking to them today, and I see a therapist and a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is, more of kind of like the Mike McDaniel of mental health. And the therapist I see is like the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator. So I talked to both of them today. And I'm always worried about going full tilt on the whole deal, because I just don't want to sound like some raving lunatic when I get out there and I'm just voicing my opinion. I kind of pushed the envelope today. I was talking to her, the therapist, and I was like, I've come to the realization that people that deal with anxiety and depression or mental illness are more in tune to how things really are in the world. They don't have that veil. See, SBK Media says, activate the plan. That is the last thing that I want to tell my therapist, because I will 100% without a doubt get Baker acted if I say, yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about activating the plan. I'm just tired of it. Now my hair looks all weird and everything. I've been thinking about activating the plan. Yeah, you know what? That's going to get me. You know what? Hold on. Let me just pull it forward. I'll just do that. If I told my therapist that I wanted to activate the plan, you guys would go another, it would be way more than 2 weeks without the Tuddle Daily podcast. Ugh. So I just been going through some stuff, and that's the reason why I haven't been doing the show. I've just been working my ass off with the new job, trying to stuff away money, help take care of my mom. But we got this storm coming up here. I went to go get gas today. Later, I couldn't even get gas. Well, it's not because they didn't have gas. It's just everybody. These tropical storms, hurricanes and stuff, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm making light of these storms, because Florida just went through hell. I mean, SBK, you were down in Fort Myers during Hurricane Charlie, and that was bad. Fort Myers got absolutely hammered, and then there was a lot of flooding up towards the Orange County, Volusia, Seminole area because of the St. Johns River. I'm not going to say where. Ricardo says, hey, Tuddle, what's your new job? I'm a recruiter for a very legitimate company. And you're like, oh, Tuddle's a recruiter? Can't be for a big company. No, it's for a big company. It is. And I'll leave it at that, because there's a lot of trolls out there that are just wanting to get at me. So I'm not going to say where, but I recruit for a very amazing company. Not just locally, nationally. And I'll leave it at that. So we got this storm coming, and it's not going to be that. It will be they're saying that it's going to be a Category 1 subtropical storm, Nicole. But we don't need the rain. And I'm going to get into it, but I want to play the story Oh, man. I know that I'm going to sound like a big-ass creep when I play this story. The story I'm about to play for you is just talking about
meteorologist Kellyanne Class giving you the latest information.
I really, really have an issue when it comes to local. I'm a local media personality junkie, especially when it comes to local TV news. There's a lot of it. If SBK or Soul Brother Kevin is still watching, Jackie London. Soul Brother Kevin loved Jackie London. This Kellyanne Class is my Jackie London. And I got to be careful because she follows me on social media. I follow her on social media. And I don't want to be creepy, but man, Kellyanne Class.
Good morning. I'm First Warning meteorologist Kellyanne Class giving you the latest information from the National Hurricane.
She's got curves. She's taller. And there'll be sometimes. So she's wearing a longer dress, so they put up the graphics. And I'm not trying to take any. Kellyanne Class is an amazing broadcaster. Her professional broadcasting skills are on point. But she's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Hurricane Center 10 a.m. advisory is out. Still a subtropical storm with winds of 45 miles per hour. Pressure has not changed. Still 1,002 millibars. It's slowing down, though. It's moving to the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Here's a look at that latest track from the National Hurricane Center. Expected to strengthen.
Man, Kelly, stop it.
By
Kelly, stop it, Kelly.
Tuesday evening to winds of 65 miles per hour. Moves over the Bahamas by Wednesday morning. Winds of 70 miles per hour and actually becomes a Category 1 hurricane before it makes landfall in South Florida by Wednesday. Giving you the latest. Here's a look at that latest track from the National Hurricane Center.
I got to tell Bubba about this Kellyanne Class because he loves brunettes. I don't know. Like maybe it's just me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop before I sound like a real creepo.
Expected to strengthen by Tuesday evening to winds of 65 miles per hour. Moves over the Bahamas by Wednesday morning. Winds of 70 miles per hour and actually becomes a Category 1 hurricane before it makes landfall in South Florida by Wednesday evening as it continues to approach that coastline. So late Wednesday into early Thursday morning, making landfall in South Florida as a Category 1 hurricane. Winds of 70.
Damn, Kelly. Fish on J all day tribute. I'll leave it at that, but I agree.
25 miles per hour cuts across the peninsula of Florida as it takes that northwesterly turn by Thursday morning, emerges in the Gulf of Mexico by Friday, and then is expected to make.
Isn't that the most Florida thing that you could ever imagine, that we get hit twice? And now this has happened before in Florida. It's happened quite a few times. It's happened where a storm will cut across and then come back across. And the storms, it's supposed to be a Category 1 when it comes in. Not that bad. Most Floridians do not take a Category 1 seriously, but the big thing is the rain. We don't need any more rain. We don't need any more precipitation. We just don't need it, especially with the St. Johns River. You know, a lot of people, it's going to come in South Florida. Well, do you want to know what feeds the St. Johns River? The South. You know, St. Johns River is one of just a few rivers in the whole entire world that flows north. And it's also a lazy river. It's a lazy-ass river. There's going to be some pretty bad flooding.
A second landfall in Florida before moving up the east coast of the United States. So what we're watching for is the main impact still expected to be Wednesday and into Thursday, as that wind field is still a little bit expansive and lingering into Friday as well. As of now, we still only have tropical storm watches in effect for the Bahamas, likely to be upgraded as we continue to watch Nicole get closer.
All right. So there's that. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is that I feel tremendously bad for the residents of Orla Vista. The people in Orla Vista,
neighborhood plagued by extensive flooding
over, and my God, see, I'm going to sound like a real creepo. I'm starting to have a Indian fetish almost, because Sonica Dongay, yeah, she's the woman on the right there, and then you got Sheldon Tudes. I think I know I butchered that, but Sonica Dongay. You know what, though? I see Vulture said, "Sup, girl." Yeah. Now, there's a man. I can't even begin to rank all the women that I've ever been on. Vulture, I'm having a big brain fart. Probably shouldn't have smoked before the show. Who's the newscaster? And I'm gonna feel really, really bad about it. The newscaster, female newscaster, Sunny Abada. Sunny Abada, nobody beats Sunny Abada. I'm sorry. Nobody beats Sunny Abada, but there are some pretty good up-and-comers when it comes to female broadcasting talent, but Sunny Abada, forget about it. But these poor people in Orla Vista, back when about 5 years ago, we had a hurricane, and these poor people all got flooded out. Then the Orange County people, the Orange County politicians were like, oh, we're going to fix it. They had $10 million worth of federal money that was supposed to go to fix the flooding problems in Orla Vista. Still wasn't fixed. Where did that $10 million go? Because it wasn't used to fix these people. And then Hurricane Ian came, and these people got, everything's gone. Everything is gone. Well, Fish on Jay, she's not native Indian. She's, I got to be careful. I can't even say what I was going to say. She's not native Indian. She's the other Indian. I'll leave it at that. But now, so they had Ian. All these people lost everything. Then they said, oh, we're going to fix everything now. And then the subtropical storm Nicole's coming in.
living in one Orange County neighborhood plagued by extensive flooding during major storms are skeptical about the county's plan to fix the underlying issue.
Now, this is the second time in 5 years the homes in Orla Vista flooded.
What up, Sonica?
During a major storm, and residents there want something done now to prevent this from happening again. West 2's Bob Hazen explains what's being done.
For now, the county is sticking with the plan that they approved and voted on years ago, but still have not completed. And that involves making the lake right back here deeper so it can handle more water.
Well, let's be honest. This is exactly what has happened. Orlando and all the metro Orlando and surrounding areas have been growing too fast. They've gotten too greedy. And they haven't thought these plans through. They just have not thought it through. And 5 years ago, these people lost everything. They just recently lost everything during Hurricane Ian. And the federal government gave them $10 million. Now they're wanting to fix it. The $10 million is now not enough because guess what? Cost of doing business has gone up. Now it's going to cost like $16 million. They waited around long enough. And I don't understand why like people aren't more pissed about this, because this should have been fixed before Hurricane Ian. Now we got subtropical storm Nicole, and they're about to get screwed again.
The county also could end up buying up some of the properties here in Orla Vista. Now, this is some video of how it looks in a lot of people's homes here in Orla Vista right now. Several feet of water, flooded houses here.
Man, and there's a lot of people here in Edgewater. I mean, Fish on Jay, you're in the chat room. All those homes on the right-hand side going down 442 towards US 1. It's like a war zone. And I'm sure once we get this storm, that place is just going to be just like it was during Hurricane Ian, even though this isn't a big storm.
Some have lost pretty much everything. And Orla Vista also had severe flooding 5 years ago during Irma. And the county had said that it worked out a plan, voted on it to prevent this from happening again.
Nothing got done. And Jerry Dimmons right here. I'm not trying to pick on Jerry Dimmons, but how many of these county council people, I can't say councilmen because that would be the wrong use of pronouns, but why aren't these people being held responsible?
But yesterday, officials said that that work had not been finished. The plan includes making the retention lakes.
Guys, look at this is Orlando. We live in the flattest state in the lower 48. You wouldn't think that you would have flooding in a flat area like this.
Deeper and wider, but they also admit that they still would not have been able to contain all of the rain that came from Ian. In Orla Vista, a lot of people here are fed up. Some are even packing up and leaving.
This is some great
This
sound
was
bite.
just too much. That's all I can say. It's too much.
It's going to be like this again.
I love this. Wait, hold on. How do you say your name? Wanazera Thomas. What up, Wanazera? Wanazera is not taking anybody's shit right now.
And I know it's going to be like this again because they gave us high hopes the first time.
High hopes?
And we on the second time.
Obviously, many here are skeptical. The county is still trying to get all the funding lined up and finish the plan to make the lake bigger. They're also hoping to get the new pumping system installed so it can lower the lake levels when this big...
Let's be honest. There's not going to be a fucking thing done. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to be done. Where did that $10 million go to? Where did that $10 million go to fix the flooding issue in Orla Vista? Guess what you didn't see in the rich areas? And this is not a racial thing. It's not. Because there's a lot. Look, you want to see what the woman and the guy that they're rescuing? White, Caucasian. You didn't see this type of flooding in the rich areas. You just didn't see it. And I think this country is going to be better off when we start realizing this is not a black thing. This is not a white thing. This is not a Hispanic thing. This is not anything. This is the haves versus the have-nots. And this didn't happen in the rich areas. It just did not happen. Also, if you decide to live on the banks of the St. Johns River, or you live right on the coast of the state of Florida, and like in Daytona, I mean, the erosion is bad. Daytona, Flagler, New Smyrna, the erosion is bad. But if you decided to live right on the beach, that's cost of doing business. It just is. If you have property right on the St. Johns River, you just got to realize it's cost of doing business. My dad always told me this, and I heard this from a lot of Southern people. Never buy property that has a cypress tree on it. Even Jim Phillips. Even Jim Phillips used to say this. You used to say, don't buy property that has a cypress tree on it, because if there's a cypress tree on your property, then that land has been flooded at one point. It's just, that's the way it is. And I don't feel bad for me. You got to do your due diligence.
Big rain does come. The mayor also floated the idea of buying up properties in Orla Vista so they can add even more capacity for the lakes. But as of right now, no
intimate domain. Going to take people's property.
Details on how that plan would work. Reporting in Orla Vista, Bob Hazen, West 2 News.
So you got that. Now, one of the other big stories, everybody's up in arms about Elon Musk. Elon Musk owns Twitter now. And I can't understand why everybody has such a big problem with this.
There's debating the direction of the sun.
And I'll break this down. I am all for absolute free speech. But everybody's upset about all the misinformation that is on social media. SB, and it didn't happen to you know who. I'm not touching that one, but I get where you're coming from, SBK. I completely know where you're going there. But I want to talk about the Elon thing. People want to talk about misinformation on Twitter. They're worried about all that and stuff. If you get your news, if you're basing your opinion on stuff that you see on social media, you're an idiot. You are absolutely what is wrong with most of the Americans right now. I will admit, I do show prep on Twitter. I even go to Black Twitter. I didn't even know Black Twitter existed until SBK told me about it, but I do get some pretty good show prep off of it. I do. So, but when I find news stories on social media, I'll find a second source to be able to find out if there's any legitimacy to it. But I really don't even have any, like responsibility to give. I can see a story. I can just talk about it for comedic, because I'm not a legitimate news source. I just see stuff. I'm going to talk about it. DR's coming in with a $5 super sticker. Thank you, DR. Really appreciate that. Thank you for helping the cause. But I really don't. Look, I probably might. I'm thinking about it, and I know a lot of people will probably be like, "Oh, Tuddle, why would you pay to get the blue check mark?" I'm not as fortunate like other radio personalities that I know. SBK's he's verified, but the blue check mark is smart for business because it's the algorithm. I'll be able to, show up more. It'll help business. It will. Fish on J SBK wants to know, does Black Twitter show some ass asking for a friend? I'm sure. Yeah, it does. It does. I can tell you that. Nothing that I would be able to handle, but Caucasian like myself can hope one day. There's some positions you just can't do with, when you're rocking 6 on a good day. You just can't. There's some positions you just can't do. But I don't understand why everybody's up in arms. It's just a rich billionaire that it's his sandbox. He's one to play. And now since Elon owns Twitter, I see a lot of the tweets he's been on. I just can't take anything serious that he says. So you know what? I'm along for the ride. I'm enjoying watching Rome burn. Everybody was like, oh, MySpace is that old, worn down amusement park that's fenced up that nobody wants to go to anymore. I so would love for MySpace to make a comeback, but it won't. Twitter used to be fun. Still is, can be. I don't tweet that much anymore. And I really wouldn't be on social media if it wasn't for being on the radio or doing the podcast I'm doing.
This morning, billionaires debating the direction of the site that has an outsized impact on the spread of information just before the midterm election. Elon Musk tweeting overnight, Twitter needs to become by far the most accurate source of information about the world. Former owner Jack Dorsey replying, accurate to who?
See, now this is just a big bitch fight. Jack, you got paid. You got paid. Now you're one to say face. You're just another rich asshole. And Elon's coming in here, and everybody's like, oh, you wasted $44 billion. I got to tell you, if I was rich as Elon and I just wanted to buy Twitter on a whim, you know what? Bet your ass I would. I would do it. Now he's got his little playground, and I'll be a part of it. I'll go on there just to see it. And guess what? Let's be honest, guys. Everybody's dropping out because of Trump, might possibly be back on Twitter and all this stuff. Bet your ass. People talked about Twitter more when Donald Trump was on it. Did I agree with the stuff he said? No, hell no, not at all. But guess what? Everybody went to Twitter just to do what Donald Trump did. And does Donald Trump even come back on Twitter because he's got his Truth social media app? How does that look if you are going on Twitter that banned you and then not posting as much on your own personal social media app? But it was fun. And the thing is like, we're doomed. I do vote a lot for politicians that are just going to give us the best sound bites or the best things to talk about. Am I the only one that can admit that?
Who? In a report from Bloomberg, unconfirmed by NBC News, the company has reached out to dozens of fired employees to ask them back.
Oh, my bad. My bad. We didn't mean to fire you. Are we cool? Can I have a take back on this? You're not fired. Come back.
Because some were laid off by mistake, according to two people familiar with the moves. This just days after Elon Musk suddenly fired roughly half the staff.
I found that my work laptop was remotely wiped and access to Slack and Gmail.
I've seen that happen to some good working small town radio people. So welcome to the party, pal.
Revoked.
Sources within the company say the layoffs include staff that filtered out hate speech and studied misinformation. Critics now worry that Twitter's ability to police misinformation is compromised with the...
All right, so once again, if you're getting your news and stuff from social media, maybe you should have your voting card pulled. I'm just saying. Because there are a lot of people, oh, I read this, I read that on the internet. God damn it, people. Be better than that. Just be better than that. And also, isn't the legitimate news, I'm not just talking about the right news or the left news, the liberal news, the conservative news. I know they're all both the same thing. But aren't they all biased? Isn't there a lot of mistruth that you're seeing on the news every single day? Yes, you are, but not a lot of people realize that because guess what? A lot of Americans are a bunch of dumb fucks.
Midterm elections only a day away.
There has to be guardrails so individuals are not misled. Misinformation is not dominating the public discourse.
New studies show the day Musk took over, hate speech also spiked on Twitter, but don't speculate as to why. Researchers found use of the N-word increased by nearly 500%.
I mean, I don't agree. I mean, I agree with that stat, but let's be honest. Let's be real here. Let's not act like racial hate speech or derogatory names or racist names haven't been used on the internet since the invention of it. It has. I'm not one of those white people. Oh, well, why can't I say it? No, I've never been a believer of that at all. But I mean, if you're an online gamer or whatever, teenage Caucasian kids or just teenagers playing Call of Duty in general are the most racist people that you're ever going to meet. You're going to. It's just, that's the way it's always been. But man, that's a hell of an uptick on the use of the N-word.
To raise revenues, Twitter plans to offer users verified accounts for $8 a month.
Guess what? A lot of people are going to say I'm a sucker for doing it, but I'm going to do it. If it helps, the podcast and the content that I'm creating grow, sign me up. I think it's an investment.
Though it's unclear what steps the company is taking to verify these accounts. This while some users took to impersonating Musk's personal account, including comedian Kathy Griffin, who was...
You know what? I've been to Kathy Griffin's comedy show. She's good. She's talented. But, man, you're grasping at straws to be relevant, Kathy Griffin. Man. And guess what? And a lot of people wanted to, guess what? Elon said he wants free speech. He wants this. So, you know what? You don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to be on Twitter. If you don't like it, it's his sandbox. And if he wants to kick you out, that's what he can do. And the same thing goes back when Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, they permanently banned Trump and everything. And everybody's like, oh, what about First Amendment, free speech? It's not the same thing, people. It's just not. It's a business. You don't have to be on Twitter. And if they want to kick you out for anything, they have the right to it. So do not use the First Amendment as an excuse or defense or anything. You are not afforded First Amendment on a social media platform. You got to play by their rules. And I know some people, I think that people should have free will, free First Amendment. Let's let it rip. Let's make it like Game of Thrones. You could die at any minute. You could get taken out like a A-list celebrity like Sean. What was his name? Not Sean Bean. Is it Sean Bean? Yeah, it was. Dude died in the first season of Game of Thrones. Got taken out. That's exactly what social media should be like. Wild, Wild West. You get taken out at any minute. Let it rip. I don't think the internet should be censored. I mean, you don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be on Instagram or anything like that. Let it rip. I would rather know people's true feelings so I can cut them out of my life if I don't agree with it or not. And I guess people really aren't liking this because numbers just took a shit.
Later suspended. Musk, a self-proclaimed free speech absolutist, tweeting that going forward, such handles that don't clearly specify parody will be permanently suspended.
And a lot of people are like, oh, people are impersonating Elon, and now he's pissed. So guess what? He owns a company. Even though he paid $44 billion with it, if he wants to run this mother effer into the ground, he has all right.
Several major companies now pulling their ads from the platform. Musk, who tweeted he had, quote, no choice about the layoffs when the company is losing over $4 million a day, spoke out.
Do you think, all right, how much is Elon worth? How much is Elon worth? Hold on. I got to look this up. $4 million a day they were losing. I just want to look. $208.3 billion. You know, the economy's bad, stock market not doing that well. So, of course, it's going to be a little down, but $44 billion. And as a guy that has over $200 billion, does losing $2 million a day, do you feel that? Do you, as a 200 billionaire, do you really feel losing $2 million a day? I'm just asking. Fish on J writes, Elon kicked me out for posted a small redfish. Gotta step my game up, cut. I'm just saying, like $2 million. Somebody that has over $200 billion, do they really even feel $2 million?
About the advertiser backlash.
This is despite us doing everything possible to appease them and to make it clear that moderation
His relationship with his mom is really creepy.
rules and hateful conduct rules have not changed, and we're continuing to enforce them.
Twitter, whose press team also was largely laid off, did not respond to our request for comment.
All right. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here, but I do plan on doing a full week's worth of shows. If you miss any of the shows, I got over 750 or shows that are available audio-wise on my podcasting platforms. You can go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just search The Tuddle Daily Podcast. And if you're listening to the audio version of this and you want to catch the show live, you can easily do that. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/Tuddle, twitch.tv/Tuddle on the radio. Plus, I stream it on Twitter, Facebook, and I wish I could figure out how to do it on others. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.